Previously on Creative Focus. Truly honored to have as my guest today on Creative Focus, minister, motivator, TV news anchor, award-winning journalist, and Hall of Famer, Miss Danita Harris. Danita, welcome to Creative Focus.
Wow, thank you so much. I love the energy in your intro. You made me feel good. I was like, who is that? Who's that?
Let's chop it up.
Let's chop it up. Let's do it.
What are the challenges in being a Black woman in this industry, Danita?
Wow, great question. Maintaining your authenticity and not letting the obvious barriers, roadblocks, stop you from being you. Learning how to blend in, but know when to speak up. And I will say, anchors are leaders. And I've learned which battles, that's not a battle for me to fight, but I think being an effective leader, you know when to speak up and how to use your authority and leverage. Being a Black woman where you don't see, I think actually you see more Black women and Black men actually in these roles of anchors. But the one thing that I've always had to maintain who you are, just fight to maintain who you are and know your value. Don't let them label you. You know what you bring to the table.
Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of dance, film, music, theater, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and I'm thrilled to be back at the historic Karamu House, the oldest African-American theater in the country, here to talk about their upcoming production, Quiet Door, by Terrell Alvin McCartney. And here to tell us more about this powerful and poignant piece is the director, the multi-talented Mr. Nathan Henry.
Hello.
Nathan, welcome to Creative Focus, man. Let's check it out.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
I think it's the first time we've had an actual sit.
This is, yeah, indeed.
And because you work with so many of the same artists,
Yep.
colleagues, Mia Jones, Christina Jones.
That's right. Some of the best people in Cleveland.
Some of the best people in Cleveland, and that's why you're on this show.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Nathan, give us a brief history of your artistic.
Oh, sure. You know, I've been in Cleveland my whole life. I've always wanted to go to New York, Chicago, LA, wherever, but home has always called me here. And I've built my career here in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been an actor, producer, director. Acting is my first love. Trained at Baldwin Wallace University. I've been acting since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, as my grandmother used to say. And I've found solace in performing, found solace in singing and being a performer on stage. And it's been a part of my life since I was a child. And so moving from becoming an actor to a director and a producer allowed me to see the other side of performing, the things that the audience members don't normally get to see, how you put the things together, how the lights come together, how the set becomes a part of that. So learning how to be a producer also was a really important part of my life. And I've been doing this for about 25 years now here in Cleveland, Ohio.
So don't you believe that, I know I do, that when you come from acting, that's like the grassroots.
Oh, sure.
It's just much easier to move into the acting, producing, directing.
You know, theater teaches you life skills that you really can't get in a formalized education, can't get in school. Teaches you how to communicate with people, teaches you how to interact with folks, teaches you how to be flexible, how to problem solve. And a lot of those qualities not only are perfect on stage as the actor, but also behind the scenes as a stage manager, as a director, as a producer, as the person who's running around with all the props and the scenery. You know, the qualities that that are in the theatrical arts can be applied to other areas. There's a specific skill set that can be applied to all different types of areas that make most theater people and most artistic type of people succeed and excel in whatever they're doing.
Well spoken.
Yeah.
Well spoken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I know you've directed numerous shows here at Carolina. Flying West.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Day of Absence.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And the velocity of talk about directing choir. And why did you make that choice there? Because that's a arduous task.
Yeah, you said it. Choir Boy is such an interesting story. It's a coming-of-age tale about a young man who is looking for himself, trying to find his path down the way of life, trying to determine what he wants to be when he grows up. You know, and I say coming of age because he's at a point in his life where he makes choice left or choice right. His life could go in a different direction depending on which way he goes. And it's an incredible piece because it's the point of view of this one young man, 16, 17-year-old African-American young man in an all-boys school. And he loves singing. He loves performing. He loves the gospel. He breathes and eats the gospel. And there's something about the way that music makes him feel alive. He can't do anything else but sing. He can't do anything but praise the Lord. And he wants anybody and everybody in his circle to feel that joy that he has. There's a number of issues that he's going through as a young man. There's a number of challenges he has. There's a number of students that he interacts with in his school, his best friend, his adversary, his antagonist, his school teacher, his principal, his parents. All of these people are pulling and pushing him in different directions. He's trying to stay true to himself. He's trying to stay true to who he wants to be or who he believes he wants to be. And that's difficult for anybody, but especially a young teenager. Young man, with all the things that are surrounding our youth today, all the things that our young people are facing with, whether it's the media or social media or politics, making money, relationships, school, trying to fit in per se, is definitely something that this young man does not really care about. He really cares about doing his best in school, being honorable, being upstanding, and then of course being the best singer and being the best musician that he can be. So I'm drawn to this because I'm, as a performer, as a singer, as an actor, I totally remember those days being in high school. The one thing that helped me through all of my problems, all of my challenges was definitely performing, was definitely music, was very, very active in church as well. And so understanding what this character is going through really hit home for me. I also just think it's an incredible story, the way it's written about. It's from his point of view. He's also experiencing love for the first time. He's experiencing doubt for the first time, unsureness of himself, trying to find himself. And I think that's a universal story for everybody. Everybody can understand that. And so I'm excited that we get to tell this story here at the historic Karamu House. I'm excited we get to tell this story written by Terrell, who was also the screenplay writer for Moonlight, award-winning Moonlight. And it's you can see moments of the film Moonlight in this story, which is also fun. But we have a lot of good times in this. It's a play with music. There's a lot of music, but there's no accompaniment. So it's kind of difficult to figure out, well, when do the actors start singing and when do they stop singing? Everybody is working together, listening and understanding which beat, which tempo, which rhythm, which cutoff. When there's no accompaniment in the show, you have to work together with your other actors, problem solving, to make sure that everyone is on the same beat, everyone is on the same tempo. Yeah.
So the play deals with youth, faith, friendship. What are some of the challenges in bringing those emotional moments to the stage.
Yeah,
Direct.
yeah, it's incredible the way that actors are able to hone into their emotions, and they're able to take a script and personalize it most of the time. Sometimes it's difficult to do that if it's a traumatic or triggering part of your own life, but actors are able to find those intimate moments. We use the term subtext, what you don't say. And oftentimes when you're having a conversation with someone, you have the dialogue, but you also have what is inside of your head, what you're not saying. And what actors are able to do really, really well is not only say that dialogue, but show the audience what their subtext is, or sometimes not show the audience what their subtext is. And so you develop the story, you develop the backstory, you develop what the character's needs, wants, desires, and what their objective is. In a play like this, there's a lot of backstory that we don't get to know. We learn along the way, like breadcrumbs. We learn, a little bit along the way, the whole story. We don't get the whole story right at the beginning. We get a lot of subtext, what the characters should say, but what they don't say, what they want to say, but what they can't say. And there's a lot of that in the story that also tells me as a director, how many times have I, as a Black man, have to stifle what I want to say, or had to hold my tongue, or have to read the room to determine, okay, there are certain things that I should not do in this space because of the people who are in this space with me. And these characters find themselves in a number of situations where that actually happens. I want to say this, but I can't.
What excites you as a director about the journey that these characters are on?
Oh, man. These characters are on such an incredible journey of discovery. What they don't know at the beginning and what they discover at the end. These characters go from understanding the world in one point of view and learning along the way a different point of view. And that's just like life. These characters go through doubt, they go through heartache, they go through trials, tribulations, right? They go through so much turmoil at times where if they don't just let go and let God or let be, they won't be able to get to the next spot. They won't be able to get to the next part of the story. There's so much in the human experience where we fight the thing that's ahead of us. Whereas if we just let the thing be, and if we just experience the thing as it is, we'll get through it quicker. We'll get through it, smoother. But our instinct is to fight the thing. Our instinct is to fight against the thing. And so many of these characters are doing just that, fighting. And along the way they learn, if I just let go, if I just experience life the way it is, or just have a good time while I'm experiencing life, it'll be okay. And there's a lot of that, a lot of discoveries of those moments throughout this play.
How difficult is it to show the weaknesses, but still show the strength and the resilience?
Yeah.
As a director.
Yeah,
I know you've thought a lot about
oh boy, yeah.
the challenge.
We talk a lot about what characters want. We talk a lot about what characters need. We talk about what's motivating the character from moment to moment. Those are the basics of acting. There are times where sometimes we don't know until we get into it, until we are up on our feet. There's a part of our rehearsal period, usually the first week, we call table work. And we literally sit at a table.
Well, I know.
We take notes and we dissect and we break apart, pull apart, deconstruct the characters, the storyline, the dialogue. In the age where the playwright is alive, sometimes you can just shoot them an email or find them on Facebook or Instagram and get some feedback, or just do the research on, YouTube, Google, whatever, because I'm sure some of that research is already out there, but sometimes it's not there. And so the director and the actors, and even maybe sometimes another support person who called the dramaturg, who is also studying the script and studying what's happening in the storyline, are all pulling that apart, and they're all working together to determine what's really happening in this scene. Like what's really the issue here? What's really the problem? What's really the conflict? Sometimes that's not even the A story. Sometimes that's the B story. And sometimes that B story gets in the way, but you got to deal with that moment before you can even, move forward. And so oftentimes I'll find myself working with actors, and specifically with these actors, where we'll just stop in the middle of blocking. What is going on? What is happening? Why would your character say that thing? Why would your character do that thing? It feels like it's out of nowhere. And they will come up with these amazing backstories, or my mom did this, and my character's dad did this, and when I was 12, this happened, and I'm like, this is great. Let's keep going. Part of my background is in improvisational acting as well, so I'm all about yes and. Let's just keep going until someone says cut. And so you play around in those moments as the character, when in actuality you're building that character's life, you're building that character's backstory. And so part of the work that I try to do as a director is to pull that out of my actors. It's a real collaborative experience, but I pull that out of my actors so that they're the ones controlling the narrative, but they're also the ones staying in sync with what they've developed and what they've created. Yeah.
How difficult is it to blend music and dialogue and drama? As doing
when you have a score written by composer or lyricist for a standard book musical, when the song starts, when the song ends, all the lyrics, all the little moments in between, because it's written in the score, it's written in the libretto. For a play like this, where it includes music, but there is no score, you have to work with a music director, and we have a choreographer as well, and we're working together to find ways to seam all those moments. The songs are standalone, but the moments from a classroom setting to the song, to the classroom, to another song, to the lunchroom, we got to figure all those things out, because those are not written in a script like this. There are a number of traditional gospel songs in this production. We're working with Dr. David Thomas, who is phenomenal. He's a legend, and he has really challenged these young men to be outstanding singers. They're actors, and some of them are singers as well, but they're actors who have absolutely found the singer in themselves. They've absolutely flexed a new muscle, if you will. We are working with outstanding choreographer Asila Sharif, who works here at Cleveland, in Cleveland at Karamu House, and she's teaching them some incredible stepping, like drill stepping, and they are learning a new skill set. And finding those moments that all three of these things can come together really does make this feel like a musical, but I have to remind myself it's a play with music. It's a play with music, but the music shines through as well as the story does. And we are definitely finding those moments to blend all three of those things, even though there's no score. Yeah.
What impact do you want Choir Boy to have on the audience?
I want people to come see this play, and I want them to feel joy. I mean, this is a place of joyful gathering, right? I want them to feel joy. As Tony always says, I want them to feel joy. I want them to feel excited about life. I want them to perhaps have a moment where they remember that one thing that brought them excitement and joy when they were a young person. I want them to consider different human beings go through different experiences to discover who they are. And these characters absolutely do that. I feel blessed that I've had this opportunity to tell this story here at Karamu House. It's a story about a Black young man. It's a story about a Black school. It's a story about a Black community. And where else better to tell those stories than here at Karamu House? Yeah.
What has been the most challenging part of so far in directing this piece?
Not having a score, finding the music, determining what songs we're going to use. Sometimes the playwrights will say, this is a song that the person should sing. Sometimes they'll say, this is a song, or it could be this, or something different. When you have a framework, when you have the foundation of what it should be, it's no brainer. When you have to figure it out yourself, it's a little bit more challenging. When you have to work with your team, when you have to work with the actors who are in the show with you, it's a little bit more challenging. But I thrive on the collaboration. I thrive on bringing all those people together at the table. What do we want this to be? What do we want our production here in Cleveland of Choir Boy to be? How do we want our show to be different than the way it was on Broadway, the way it was in DC, wherever? And I truly believe ours is going to be a very unique production.
How has the play stretched you as artists?
Ooh, I am working with a cast of all men. This is the first time I've worked with an all-gender cast.
Wow.
There's a first time for everything, right?
Yeah.
There are 9 actors in the show, and 2 are playing the teachers, the adults. The other 7 are playing the students. And, the testosterone in the room in rehearsal, we are jumping around and shoving and singing and dancing, and it's great. But sometimes I'm like, okay, fellas, let's go. Okay, let's get back to rehearsal because we're having such a good time. But yeah, that's definitely stretched me working with one gender this time around. It's been fun. The fellas are great, but boy, just trying to rein it in. Hey, okay, sit down and be quiet. Yeah.
Talk about this for a moment.
Yeah.
The legacy of this place.
Yeah.
It's incredible, wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
How do you feel directing in this?
This, boy, what an honor. What an honor to be working here as an artist. Karamu was one of my artistic homes. And, I've directed Day of Absence here. I've directed Velocity of Autumn. I've directed Passing Strange, a number of plays and musicals that have a really incredible story that needs to be told. And to be able to be a working artist at this institution, I'm standing on the shoulders of everyone that came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of all the greats who either started here in Cleveland or came to Cleveland to work here, Langston Hughes, Ruby Dee. I'm standing on their shoulders because the work that they did before me is what really said Karamu House is a place that you want to be at. It's a place that you want to learn. It's a place that you want to thrive. And I'll definitely say this has been a place that I've been able to work, learn, thrive, educate, all of those things. Fail and then try again and fail again and try again and succeed. It's an honor to be here, and I feel very blessed.
You also work with Vanessa Bill Calloway, right?
Absolutely. Working with her on her production of Letters from Zora. I was able to work with Tony Sias and be a line producer for that. And outstanding human being, great actress, great, but outstanding human being. And just being in the room with those artists, just being in the room with those actors who have come before me. You learn so much just even by watching, just by hearing their thoughts and hearing their process and their craft and watching their craft. You learn so much from them.
Do you have a preference of directing drama, musical?
That's a really good one. I prefer Sometimes I prefer plays with no music, but I always find a way to add music to it. Music theater is my love, but I enjoy a play that doesn't need the extra work because musicals are so big.
Yeah.
They require so much, sound and lighting and changing of costumes and whatnot. So sometimes just a play with no music and no dancing can sometimes help me get through it a little bit easier. But, I love me some jamming on stage. So, yeah.
Let's go back and talk about the performance.
Yeah.
You would much rather perform in a musical than
I miss performing. Because I do so much producing and directing now. I don't get a chance to perform anymore. But one day soon. But man, I miss being on stage. I miss the ability to be a part of an ensemble, be a part of a group of actors who are all working towards the same goal. Sometimes I miss it. Other times, I'm good. I'm good. Opening night, okay, I'm done. Y'all have a great show.
What was the first play you ever directed?
The first play I ever directed was a musical called Anything Goes.
Goes here?
No, it was on the west side of Cleveland. And Anything Goes is a Cole Porter musical. And I love Cole Porter, love Gershwin's, love that jazz era. The first play I directed here, though, was From My Hometown by Lee Summers. Okay. And it was a memory play, if you will. It was a musical, but it was a memory play of, and included music of Motown and Stax, jazz standards, included R&B hits, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So when the first play you directed, were you ready to direct?
Yes.
How did you know?
I will say absolutely 100% yes. I think I knew when I was in high school, maybe even before then, that it was something that I was interested in. I didn't quite know the mechanics of what, directing was and how it worked out, but I knew that it was definitely something that I was interested in. Maybe because I liked telling people what to do. I don't know. And maybe, don't we all, right? Or maybe because I had seen so often, I'm revisiting A Different World, the TV series. And there are a number of moments where those characters are having skits or performing or they're doing a Black History presentation. And I remember watching those as a kid, and I remember watching their process of this person's going to do this, and this person's going to do that, and this person's going to direct, this person's going to act, and then putting all that together. So maybe, just maybe, when I was a kid watching A Different World, I was studying directing then. That was my, pre-directing class per se. But yeah, I really do enjoy being able to deconstruct a story and then put it back together and make it accessible for audiences, but also a journey for audiences to see and to peer in somebody else's life for a few moments. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So when and where can people come to see Choir Boy?
You can see Choir Boy at Karamu House. It's running April 25th through May 15th, and you can get tickets on their website, karamuhouse.org.
So everybody come out and check it out.
That's right. Come see it. Come see it. It's going to be great.
Nathan, it's been incredible.
Calhoun, thank you for the invite. I appreciate you.
To have you here.
Yeah.
I want to thank my special guest, Nathan Henry, for hanging out with us today on Creative Focus. So that's it, Cleveland. We're out. But remember, a true artist is not only inspired, but inspires others. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time becomes our time, be well, be safe.